Good morning, and this is your crypto day morning for today's day, Boxing Day, or that of Wednesday, the 26th of December 2018. My name is Derek. All bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. Before getting into cryptos, let's take a look at some precious metals. On the daily chart for silver, getting up to 1503. Levels not seen since the middle of August, as it's broken out of this nice little pattern congesting and supporting amongst the 18 highs, breaking out above previous resistance today. So another statement, interesting spot. Does it have some nice leg room going forward? Well, it is a positive statement or pattern on the chart. Gold too is breaking out. And when we take a look at gold on the weekly time frame, coming from the lows, still got a decent amount of room before where the previous high is. And on the monthly chart, it's going sideways, but the lower end, and that's against the US dollar. If we take a look at gold quickly, a bunch of other currencies, next up against the euro, it has a bit more of the same, but it looks like it might be breaking above its 18 average. Regardless of the fact, other currencies looking better on its gold chart, and at a little over 140,000 yen, and it's been maintaining this sideways range. Not really as much of a price correction on its chart. Against the Canadian dollar, it did have a decent price correction in 2013, but has been establishing this resistance well a little bit below 18. Here we stand at 1735. It's got the potential soon to break well above this resistance, as does the Aussie dollar against gold, as its chart is just below this previous high from 2011, and then again at that in 2016. Are we ready for a decent sized leg run of the precious metals? I don't know, but I do realize that when you break these correctionary moves like this and you move back into an upward move, you could have a nice leg run higher on these long-term time frames. And finally, against the Turkish lira kilo, calculated by TradingView, as it's in at 237,000 or a quarter million, where back in the 2013 lows, it was about 80,000, so 3x move from that low. From 2008, it was about 28,000, about 9 times higher, and well, this thing was at 2,000, and now it's had over a 100x gain from the lows of 1998. They're just experiencing most likely hyperinflation there. But if it's only 10x, 100x from 19 or in the last 20 years, it can't be too bad, can it? I'm sure it definitely is. But we're in a situation where times are tough. We're in a debt-based economic economy that has a lot of people in severe debt because the model is mathematically designed for such. And that's why we have all of these options: gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, fiat. Which do you want to invest in? How do you want to allocate your portfolio? Well, that's everyone's each own decision. That's why I like to help out with these videos, because I know it's helpful in many ways. Bitcoin has had this little bit of a leg lower, of course, from its high, and it's had big runs up, big runs down. It's what they do. So now we've had this low, and from that, it's in the attempt of correcting the move. Resistance has been established, correctionary mode in place. The 18 average of lows, it's in at today at that of 3570, it looks like. 3600 even, 3598. So that is an interesting area if it comes down, as an area I'd be looking for support, looking at this on a more shorter term time frame. And the Fibonacci lines that I drew in as this market was going up, well, now we've seen the 4100 twice hit as a level of resistance, and now it didn't manage to keep this upward trend going, thus it broke through the 18 average of lows with a big decline. Since then, it has just hung in there supporting this key level in here. So if it's not going to hold this, we're looking to go back down the next one at 3470. if it's able to rally higher, getting up to the 4100 and then eventually breaking through above that, then we'd be looking to go to that 48 level. But for now, it's in a short-term range at about 38.43 with the resistance and of course the support at 37. Some altcoins looking pretty interesting. First, let's take a look at Ethereum Classic, which got above this level of resistance at around the 1184 handle a few days ago, and then managed to establish resistance on Christmas Eve at the price point it's at now. On Christmas, coming back down to the newly rising 18 lows, and today's session breaking higher as the price action is now just getting past this previous resistance. It's already above this level of resistance here as well. So this wouldn't be a surprise if over today and the next 2-3 days following through, if there's further upward momentum and maybe can at least make a test towards close to this 1500 handle area. Looking at this amongst a single hour time frame, we can we'll just move move this line up to about here. It's basically right at it. It had its retracement down, correcting successfully within the 4. The 1 hour chart, we can see how it's had a nice successful correction in here. And just over the last 4 periods since the rally to this point here, I like how it's showing the signs that it might be ready for a breakout. Meanwhile, a lot of coins are doing correctionary type phases, like we can see with Steam, major decline. It's had its one run higher. Now it's back to the 18. So here we have that test. Okay, we got 2 hours to write it. You pass if you do this, fail if you do that. Well, no, you pass if you can hold this, not go lower, get us and start to make momentum higher. And you'd fail if you see weakness on the 18. It starts to decline lower. And oftentimes when you make a move like this, it's either going to be a start of a reversal, which means eventually you get above this established resistance and make at least one or more legs higher. Or, of course, that failed breakout as you get above the 18 and later on you're going to come back to this band. Maybe you'll stop going down, but you're going to do very weak or poor as far as rallies. Then eventually after that, the 18 would go sideways / lower. Maybe you resist it and then break down from such. You'd be breaking down from this low and then having at least one good leg lower from that point more times than not. As we can see, just on a basic failed move situation, just even the attempt at getting above here ended up showing the sideways consolidation here, and then it managed to, of course, have that significant breakdown below. But even more markets, Verge having a correctionary test right now on its daily band, as would be that of Dash, as it established now the twice hit resistance at about 245, but we're having multiple hit support amongst this area, so you can see more to this level amongst these shorter term time frames like the 4 hour and even more so amongst the single hour time frame. And at this point here, it's at the lower end of it, but it has been every time below here. It's going to have to make its play to one side or another. It can still have another leg lower here and successfully correct within the 18 because it's at the highs in this case. But if you see that failed breakout like so many times before and it fails, you're probably going to have a decent leg lower. And the overall volatility within these markets, you realize, okay, so if that move eventually goes positive, any of them, any situation like that, and we get a reversal because the global cryptos have been down for most of the year, then you're going to start to be talking about reversing things on more of the longer term time frames, which a lot of these markets are still at best going sideways. This one hasn't even really flattened out yet because it needs to hold and stay within this area for a lot longer. So there's still these declining moving averages on the longer term time frame. And I think a bottom for a lot of these markets is near, as I've been stating, but near doesn't mean now. And just because I think something's going to be the case, and even if it was true to be a favorite for something, doesn't mean that that it's going to be. We could be still in this, we could end up being in this bear market for more significant periods of time, like several more months. Normally, a lot of these bear markets can last for close to even a year and a half. And we've been in this bear market for pretty much about a year now. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.